week on Up in the Air. I'm Christy Stewart, and joining me this week is one of our new members this semester, Kellyanne Class. Welcome, Kellyanne.
Thanks, Christy. I'm really excited for the rest of the semester and seeing what Up in the Air has in store for me.
Yes, I am so happy that you're joining us, as I know that Quinn and Lydia are too. And later we will be introducing our other new member, Noah Berggren, at the Climate Wall. But first, we have a jam-packed show ahead.
Yep, we have stories on ice shelves, wildfires, and unusually cloudy weather, with much more.
We will also have a feature from one of our Up in the Air alumni, Mike Kwasnick, on sea ice.
That's right. We'll have all that and more in just a bit. But first, here's Update in the Air.
Heavy snowfall hammered the Afghan-Pakistani border for 3 consecutive days, generating an abundance of avalanches. In Afghanistan, 119 people have died and 67 are injured. Over 150 homes were demolished and another 50 were heavily damaged. 550 animals were lost, as well as 2,500 acres of farmland. The most recent avalanche occurred in Chitral, Pakistan, late last Saturday, killing at least 13 people and injuring 19, with several people still missing. It is hard for rescuers to reach the affected areas because many roadways are blocked and remote areas are nearly impossible to reach. While avalanches are common in these areas, consecutive bombardments are not. Evacuations along the border are underway as more snow is expected to hit Friday.
A crack running along the Antarctic ice shelf has scientists on alert, but this time, the changing climate isn't to blame. A massive crevice is moving at an accelerated rate across an ice shelf on the northern peninsula in Antarctica. While the instant reaction for many may be to blame such a crack on climate change, it's just one of several possible reasons as to why the ice shelf is separating. According to glaciologists at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland, cracks in the ice are part of the natural life of an ice shelf. They're a normal response to geometric stress in the ice, depending on how fast the ice is moving. However, this crack is breaking at a faster rate than most do, and it's raised questions as to what might mean for the ice shelf. Climate change could be playing a role, but it's hard to draw a direct link between the behavior of the crack and climate.
1. It's been a mystery to many meteorologists, and maybe to you too, why so many people disregard severe weather alerts. Meteorologists and psychologists are teaming up to get some answers and create a better alert system. Psychologists discovered people ignore warnings for various reasons. The most common include people being desensitized to watches and warnings after an abundance of them don't impact their specific location. Some people are reluctant to changing their daily plans. Many want to see it to believe it. Some even feel silly for taking shelter. And most people just get tired of waiting and decide to carry on with their day. To help prevent these thoughts and feelings, meteorologists are designing new, simpler graphics, improving the wording of their warnings by using words that resonate with people better, such as emergency, and amplifying wording on situations that are currently in action. They are also working on providing more geolocation and discovering the right amount of lead time. But until these are put into action, it is always better to be safe than sorry and take action when it is called upon in a warning or a watch.
Is it a tropical storm? A hurricane? It's neither. This is actually a powerful low pressure system that intensified over the North Atlantic Ocean this past Sunday into Monday. This storm stretched from Greenland all the way down to the top of Africa. This storm came with downpours of rain and hurricane-force winds that estimated to be at least 90 miles per hour, with a central pressure of 932 millibars. To put this into perspective, last October's Hurricane Matthew lowest central pressure was 934 millibars. In other words, the lower the pressure, the more intense the storm is. This storm formed in a picturesque center that resembled the eye of a hurricane. Non-tropical storms don't often look like this. However, with the right conditions, you can get a powerful low-pressure system like this one.
We are no strangers to cloudy winters here in Happy Valley, but for others in the Midwest and Great Lakes, it's been a flirting with records extra cloudy winter. Some cities have been continuously cloaked in clouds for 3 weeks. Chicago had 8 consecutive overcast days, the longest streak in over 25 years, and 2017 has been declared their second cloudiest January on record. Milwaukee had a 14-day cloudy streak, coming close to their record of 17 days set back in 2005. Other cities like Cleveland, Detroit, and Fort Wayne each had over 22 cloudy days in January. All of this cloud cover might not seem unusual for the Great Lakes area, but cloudy stretches typically don't last this long. Those pesky clouds have stuck around for a few reasons. Mid-January had a pronounced thaw where warm air moved from the south to the north, gliding over cold, snowy grounds and created perfect conditions for fog and low clouds. Then, cold air spilled over the mild, unfrozen waters of the Great Lakes and created lake-effect snow with a stream of clouds. Finally, a sharp south plunge of the jet stream and deep cold air well above the ground created unstable air, which made a deck of clouds. The good news, possible sunshine is increasing minute by minute every day through the summer solstice.
California has more than 100 million dead trees in its forest, and there's no consensus onto their impact on the environment or how to deal with them. In November, the U.S. Forest Service said an aerial survey revealed that 36 million additional trees had died in the midst of a multi-year drought, bringing the total since 2010 to more than 102 million. The trees' deaths have been concentrated in the southern and central Sierra Nevadas, but experts warn of increasing deaths in forests all the way up to Oregon. The phenomena raises questions on what causes wildfires, as well as the role that wildfires play in the greater ecological scheme. Officials are also grappling with logical, financial, and public safety risks associated with the removal of trees. 5 years of drought in California has been the primary cause of tree deaths. While a series of potent storms in early 2017 has alleviated dry conditions, it has not been enough to undo the damage to trees or to prevent the die-off from continuing. If the trees' population continues to thin out, California will face increased risk of erosion, mudslides, and flooding due to the loss of natural barriers.
Thanks for tuning back in.
We now have a special feature on sea ice.
Marine mammals in the Arctic are being forced to adapt to some very dramatic changes in their environment. Polar bears, Arctic ringed seals, and walruses all spend most of their time on sea ice. Unfortunately, the sea ice in the Arctic continues to retreat further almost every summer. NASA released its preliminary report on Arctic ice recently, and scientists were surprised by how much melting there was this past summer. The average sea ice from 1981 to 2010 is shown as the gold line. Further research into the sea ice shows that there has not been a record sea ice extent since 1986, a pattern to cause some concern. After the very warm winter of 2011-2012, September 2012 had the lowest recorded ice cover, 49% below the 1979-2000 average. Another cause for concern is that a decreasing trend in sea ice cover has been present over the past few decades. Polar bears rely on the sea ice as their base of operations for hunting prey and searching for mates. However, with sea ice diminishing, polar bears are forced to swim much more than they are typically accustomed to. Walruses also rely on the sea ice similar to the ringed seals. They also use the ice to rest and give birth. Walruses also use the sea ice as a place to stay safe when a storm comes by. They typically use the ice as protection from heavy seas. The ice in the Arctic has been more prone to melting recently. This is thought to be attributed to climate change, as warmer air and warmer oceans can have a significant impact. However, the climate is a very complicated system, and even today, there is no such thing as a perfect climate model. They all need to make approximations somewhere. There are many other causes for concern with respect to the diminishing sea ice. Not only can it affect the climate of the planet, but it can severely impact the ecosystem that inhabits the area. For Up in the Air, I'm Mike Wozniak.
Welcome back to the show.
Well, Kellyanne, I hope that you're having a great first episode of Up in the Air with us.
I am. I'm really looking forward to see what this semester has in store for me on Up in the Air.
Me too. But right now, it's time to introduce our other new member to the team. Welcome Noah Bertrand, standing by at the climate wall. Hi, Noah.
Hello, Christy. How are you?
I'm doing good. So how's that snow depth looking over there?
So yeah, we've been in a dry weather pattern here in the Northeast over the past few weeks, and likewise, we don't have much in the way of a snow coverage here in New England with pretty below average snowfall, although that is a much different story across the Upper Plains, Midwest, and Rockies, where they have an above average snow cover this weekend. Looking at the upper air pattern as we head into this weekend, we'll have an upper level trough that will swing through New England, which will bring with us cooler than average temperatures this Saturday and Sunday, although that trough will move out of the region before a ridge will begin to try to poke into New England as we head into early next week, with temperatures moderating into the 40s to near 50, before another trough will try to work down from Canada as we head into next weekend. Looking at the temperature forecast over the next 7 days from February 9th through the 16th, we have below average temperatures here forecasted in the New England portion of the country, although the really big area for above normal temperatures will be in the central portion of the country, from portions of Oklahoma to Colorado and Nebraska, where we're forecasting well above normal temperatures over the next week. Looking at the precipitation outlook, we're forecasting below normal precip here in portions of the Northeast and the Great Lakes region, as we're not really expecting much in the way of snowstorms or rainstorms, for that matter, over the coming days. On the contrary, portions of the southern areas of the United States, and particularly Nevada and California, are forecasted to receive above normal precipitation, which is definitely good news for the drought out there. Now, this drought has improved from where it was in parts of 2016, although Southern California especially is still in a drought. And looking at the central part of the country, portions of Tennessee to Oklahoma particularly are still experiencing moderate to extreme drought conditions, although the more surprising note is here across a good chunk of Connecticut, from Springfield down to Hartford and Danbury, Connecticut. They have extreme drought conditions right now, which is quite unusual for portions of New England, as they haven't received much in the way of rainfall over the past few months. That's all I have from the climate wall. Back over to you guys, Kellyanne and Christy.
Thanks, Noah. And that's all we have for this week's episode of Up in the Air. As always, thanks for joining us.
We'll be back next week with some more stories, but for now, I'm Kellyanne Class.
And I'm Christy Stewart. We'll see you next time, Up in the Air.